My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 28 years old and I live in Boston, Massachusetts. If someone had told me a month ago that my own parents would try to ruin the happiest moment of my life, I would have laughed in their face. I believed family was supposed to protect you. I believed parents were supposed to stand beside you on your wedding day. I was wrong. 3 weeks before I was supposed to marry the love of my life, my entire world collapsed because of a lie so cruel. It almost cost me everything. My fiancé, Ethan Carter, and I had been together for almost 4 years. We met at a charity fundraiser in downtown Boston. He wasn't impressed by expensive clothes or fake smiles. He liked that I was honest, hardworking, and independent. We built our relationship on trust. At least, that's what I thought. My parents never liked Ethan. They always believed I should marry someone richer, someone from one of Boston's wealthiest families. My father constantly reminded me that marriage was a business decision, not a love story. Every family dinner ended with another argument. "You're throwing your future away," my mother would say. "You'll regret choosing love over money." But I never listened. Ethan loved me for who I was. That was enough. When he proposed on Cape Cod during sunset, I cried before he even finished asking the question. It was the easiest yes I'd ever said. For months, wedding planning consumed our lives. The venue was booked. The flowers were chosen. Our rehearsal dinner was only days away. Everything finally felt perfect. Until one Thursday afternoon. I was at work when Ethan called me. His voice sounded different. Cold. Distant. "Sarah, can we talk tonight?" Something in my stomach twisted. "Is everything okay?" There was a long silence. "I don't know." The line went dead. For the rest of the day, I couldn't focus. By the time I got home, Ethan was already sitting in our living room. He wasn't wearing his engagement ring. My heart immediately started racing. He looked exhausted, like someone hadn't slept in days. Without saying a word, he slid a large brown envelope across the coffee table. "Open it." Inside were several printed photographs. The first picture showed a little girl. She looked about 6 years old. She had dark brown hair, bright blue eyes, and she was smiling while holding a stuffed rabbit. I frowned. "I don't understand." Ethan stared at me with tears in his eyes. "My future in-laws came to see me yesterday." My breathing stopped. "My parents?" He nodded. "They told me she's your daughter." For a moment, I genuinely thought he was joking. Then I noticed his hands were shaking. "They said you got pregnant in college, gave birth in secret, abandoned the little girl, and paid the mother to disappear." Every word felt unreal. I couldn't even process what he was saying. "What?" "They said you've been lying to me for 4 years. I stood up so quickly that my chair crashed onto the floor. "That's insane." They showed me more pictures. More pictures. The little girl, a woman I had never seen before. Documents with my name typed across the top. Everything looked official. Everything looked real. Except, none of it was true. I swear to you, Ethan, I've never seen that child before. He closed his eyes. "I want to believe you." Those 6 words broke my heart. Not because he doubted me, but because someone had worked incredibly hard to make the lie believable. I grabbed my phone and immediately called my mother. No answer. Then my father. Straight to voicemail. I drove to their house without thinking. When my father opened the front door, he wasn't surprised to see me, almost like he'd been expecting me. "You finally found out," he said calmly. "What did you tell Ethan?" "The truth." I stared at him in disbelief. "What truth?" "That he deserves better than you." I felt my entire body go numb. "You lied about me having a child?" He folded his arms. "If a lie keeps him from marrying you, then it was worth it." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own father, the man who was supposed to protect me, had deliberately destroyed my wedding. Why? His answer changed everything, because this family decides who carries our name, not you. For the first time in my life, I realized my parents didn't just disapprove of my marriage. They wanted to control my entire future. I left without saying another word. That night, Ethan moved into a hotel. He said he needed space. I sat alone in our apartment, staring at the engagement ring still on my finger. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. The message read, "Hi Sarah, my name is Olivia. I'm the woman your parents paid to pretend that little girl is your daughter. I can't live with the guilt anymore. And I have proof of everything." I froze. Before I could reply, another message appeared. "Meet me tomorrow morning. Don't tell anyone. Your parents are already trying to stop me." The next morning, I barely slept. At 5 a.m., I pulled into the parking lot of a small cafe near Boston Harbor. My heart pounded as I scanned every face through the window. Part of me wondered if this was another trap. Then I saw her. A woman in her early 30s stood up from a corner table and gave me a nervous smile. "Sarah?" I nodded. "I'm Olivia." She looked nothing like the woman in the photos my parents had shown Ethan in those pictures. She looked polished and confident. The woman standing in front of me looked exhausted, frightened, and overwhelmed by guilt. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "You never deserved any of this." I sat down without saying a word. She reached into her purse and placed a thick envelope on the table. My conscience wouldn't let me stay quiet anymore. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside were printed text messages, bank transfer records, copies of emails. One by one, I began reading them. The first message was from my mother. "Remember the agreement. Tell the same story if anyone asks. You'll receive the second payment after the rehearsal dinner." I looked up, stunned. Olivia slowly nodded. "They paid me." "Why?" I asked. Tears filled her eyes. "My daughter was diagnosed with a serious heart condition last year. I couldn't afford her treatment. I was desperate." She took a deep breath. "Your parents offered me $50,000 to pretend that little girl was yours." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "They hired a private investigator," Olivia continued. "They learned everything about your relationship with Ethan, then they created fake medical records, fake birth certificates, and staged those photographs." Every piece of the nightmare suddenly made sense. "The little girl is my daughter," Olivia said. "She has absolutely no connection to you." I looked a smiling photo again. That innocent child had been used as a weapon, not by strangers, but by my own parents. Olivia slid her phone across the table. I recorded every conversation after I realized what they were planning. She pressed play. My mother's voice filled the room. "If Ethan believes Sarah abandoned a child, he'll never marry her. That's all we need." Then my father's voice. "Once the wedding is canceled, she'll have no choice but to come back to this family." I felt sick. They hadn't done this because they hated Ethan. They had done it because they wanted complete control over my life. Tears rolled down my face, not because I was weak, but because I finally understood something I had refused to admit for years. My parents had never truly loved me. They only loved controlling me. Olivia reached across the table. "I'll testify if you want. I'll tell Ethan everything." I thanked her through tears. Before leaving, she gave me a small flash drive. "Every recording is backed up here." I drove straight to Ethan's hotel. When he opened the door, he looked surprised. "I know you asked for space," I said quietly, "but please, just give me 10 minutes. He hesitated before letting me in. Without saying a word, I handed him the envelope. He spent nearly half an hour reading every document. Then he listened to the recordings. The room fell completely silent. Finally, he looked at me. "I'm so sorry, Sarah." His voice cracked. "I should have trusted you." I couldn't hold back my tears anymore. He wrapped his arms around me, and for the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe again. "I'll fix this," he promised. I slowly shook my head. "No." He looked confused. "I'm not interested in a private apology from my parents." I looked directly into his eyes. "They humiliated me in private, so they'll be exposed in public." A slow smile appeared on Ethan's face. "What are you thinking?" I looked at the calendar hanging on the wall. Tomorrow night, our rehearsal dinner. Every relative, every friend, every business partner. Everyone my parents cared about would be sitting in one room. They wanted to destroy my wedding, I said calmly. So I'm gonna let them destroy themselves. Just then my phone buzzed. It was a text from my mother. We're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Try not to embarrass the family. I smiled for the first time in days. She had no idea what was coming. Neither did my father. By tomorrow night, the people who built their lives on lies would be begging for mercy in front of everyone they had ever tried to impress. The next evening, I stood outside the Grand Harbor Ballroom in downtown Boston, staring at my reflection in the glass doors. Anyone looking at me would have seen a calm bride in a beautiful ivory dress. But inside, I was preparing for war. Ethan squeezed my hand. "You don't have to do this," he whispered. I looked at him and smiled. "No," I replied softly. "I have to finish this." When the doors opened, nearly 100 guests turned to look at us. Friends, relatives, co-workers, business partners, even my parents' closest friends. Everyone stood and applauded as Ethan and I walked in. My parents were already seated at the head table, wearing perfect smiles as if they hadn't spent the last week trying to destroy my life. My mother even stood up to hug me. "You look beautiful," she said. I stepped back before she could touch me. "Thank you." The smile on her face faded for just a second. Dinner began, and the room was filled with laughter, music, and champagne glasses clinking together. My parents looked relaxed, confident. They truly believed they had won. Halfway through dinner, Ethan stood up and tapped his glass. "I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight," he said. "But before we celebrate our wedding, Sarah has something she'd like to share." The room immediately fell silent. My father frowned. This wasn't part of the schedule. I walked to the microphone with a small black flash drive in my hand. "I grew up believing that family meant honesty," I began, "and for years, I defended people who never deserved my loyalty." Guests exchanged confused looks. My mother forced a nervous smile. "Sarah, sweetheart, maybe this isn't the right time." I looked directly at her. "No, this is the perfect time." I nodded toward the event coordinator. The lights dimmed. A giant screen behind me came to life. The first image appeared. It was the photo of the little girl my parents had claimed was my daughter. Gasps echoed through the ballroom. My father immediately stood up. "What is this?" I ignored him. Then the next image appeared. A bank transfer sent from my parents' account to Olivia. The room grew completely silent. My mother's face turned pale. This isn't real," she shouted. I pressed the remote again. The next slide showed screenshots of text messages. "Tell the same story. You'll receive the second payment after the rehearsal dinner." Someone in the audience whispered. "Oh my God." My father rushed toward the stage. "Turn that off." Security stepped in front of him. For the first time in my life, he couldn't control the room. Then I played the audio recording. My mother's voice echoed through every speaker. "If Ethan believes Sarah abandoned a child, he'll never marry her." The entire ballroom froze. A second recording played. My father's voice followed. "Once the wedding is canceled, she come crawling back." A wave of shocked murmurs spread across the room. Several guests stood up in disbelief. One of my father's longtime business partners slowly removed his glasses. "I can't believe this." Another family friend shook her head. "They planned all of this?" My mother's hands were trembling now. She looked around the room, searching for anyone to defend her. No one moved. Then the ballroom doors opened. Every head turned. Olivia walked inside holding her daughter's hand. The little girl clutched her stuffed rabbit, completely unaware of the storm surrounding her. Olivia stepped onto the stage beside me. "My name is Olivia," she said into the microphone. "Everything Sarah showed you is true." She explained how my parents approached her, how they learned about her financial struggles, how they offered money in exchange for destroying my reputation. She even handed printed copies of the agreement to several guests sitting in the front row. People read them in stunned silence. Then someone began clapping. One person, then another. Within seconds, Nearly the entire ballroom was on its feet. Not for my parents, for me. My father looked completely defeated. His perfect image, the one he had spent decades building, was collapsing in front of everyone who mattered to him. He finally looked at me and said the words I had waited my whole life to hear. "Sarah, I'm sorry." The room became silent again. I walked closer until we were only a few feet apart. Then I looked him straight in the eyes. "You aren't sorry because you hurt me. You're sorry because everyone finally knows who you really are." His head dropped. He had no answer. Just as I thought everything was over, a hotel employee hurried into the ballroom holding a sealed envelope. "Miss Mitchell?" He looked nervous. "This was just delivered for you." I slowly opened it. Inside was a single photograph. It showed me as a little girl, standing beside someone I had never seen before. On the back, only one sentence was written. "Your parents have been hiding one more secret for 28 years. The ballroom was so quiet that I could hear my own heartbeat. I stared at the old photograph in my hands. It showed a little girl me, no older than 5, standing beside a smiling woman I had never seen before. She had her arm wrapped around my shoulders, like she loved me more than anything in the world. On the back, the handwritten note read, "Your parents have been hiding one more secret for 28 years." I looked up, completely confused. "Who sent this?" Before anyone answered, a calm voice came from the back of the room. I did. Every guest turned around. An elderly man slowly walked into the ballroom. My father instantly turned pale. "No," he whispered. "It can't be." The man stopped a few feet away from us. "My name is Richard Collins," he said, "and I've kept a promise for 28 years. But I can't stay silent anymore." He looked directly at me. "Sarah, the woman in that photograph was your biological mother." My entire body froze. "What?" Richard took a deep breath. "She wasn't the woman who raised you. The people you call. Mom and Dad adopted you when you were 5 years old after your mother passed away." The room erupted with gasps. I turned toward my parents. Neither of them denied it. Tears filled my eyes. "Is it true?" My mother looked down. She couldn't even look at me. My father finally nodded. "Yes." I felt like the floor had disappeared beneath me. My whole life. "You lied to me." Richard reached into his briefcase and handed me a folder. Inside were adoption papers, letters, photographs, and a journal written by my biological mother before she died. She had written about how much she loved me, how she hoped I would grow up surrounded by kindness. Instead, I had spent 28 years trying to earn love from people who only wanted control. I closed the journal and looked at my parents one last time. "You didn't just try to destroy my wedding. You stole my identity. You stole my past. You stole the chance for me to know who I really was." Neither of them spoke. There was nothing left to say. I slowly removed the family necklace my adoptive mother had given me when I turned 18. I placed it on the table in front of them. "I'm done. You will never be part of my life again. If I ever have children, they will never know your names." My mother's knees gave out. She burst into tears. "Please, Sarah, don't do this." For the first time in my life, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel hatred. I felt nothing. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't making someone suffer. It's showing them they no longer matter. I turned around and walked back to Ethan. He took my hand without saying a word. The guests stood and applauded, not because they had witnessed a scandal, but because they had witnessed someone finally choosing herself over. Years of manipulation. 1 week later, Ethan and I were married in a small ceremony overlooking the ocean in Cape Cod. No drama, no lies. Just the people who truly loved us. Olivia and her daughter were there too. Instead of flowers, our guests donated to a Children's Heart Foundation to help families like Olivia's. It was the happiest day of my life. 6 months later, I legally changed my last name. Not to erase my past, but to begin a future that belonged to me. As for my parents, their business partners walked away. Their reputation never recovered. The same community they tried so hard to impress eventually learned the truth. They lost the one thing they valued most, the respect of others. A few months after the wedding, I received one final letter from my father. Inside were only 4 words: I was wrong. Forgive me. I folded the letter, placed it back in the envelope, and quietly dropped it into the fireplace. Some chapters aren't meant to be reopened. They are meant to be finished. I watched the flames consume the paper, smiled at Ethan, and realized something I had spent my entire life searching for. The best revenge isn't destroying the people who hurt you. It's building a life so peaceful, successful, and full of love that they no longer have the power to hurt you. The end. If this story kept you hooked until the end, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if you were Sarah?